Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. Vicky Writes. I'm Vicky. Nobody in the world calls me Dr. Vicky, but I do have a PhD, so why not use it? And in this video, I will be talking about how to write up your discussion. This video covers the 10th objective of the course, and you can find the course syllabus in the video description below. Before we dive in, I want you to think about what you might already know about writing up a discussion and about what you feel like you still need to learn or any worries and concerns that you have around this topic. I recommend taking a minute to jot down the first few things that come to mind. Writing up a discussion is one of the most difficult and torturous parts of any research project, in my opinion. This is why I've recommended giving yourself 2 weeks to do it, or 20 weeks if you're doing a PhD. So 2 weeks if you're doing a dissertation over 12 weeks. Even after doing a PhD myself and working as a researcher for about 4 years, I still struggle to write them. So if I still struggle to write them, then just know that if you find yourself struggling to write it, or even struggling with the thought of writing it, then you're not alone. I would be shocked if anyone enjoys writing up discussions. There must be some people, but I don't know any of them. Be reassured, however, that a discussion section would never be the cause of failure of a dissertation or thesis. So, as with your literature review, do what you can to a satisfactory level within your 2 allocated weeks and then move on. If your brain is totally uncooperative when you sit down to write, which I think I've discussed in a previous video, try walking around with your phone's recorder on and speaking aloud what points you think you might want to include, and then typing the recording up and editing it from there. Because sometimes our brains can get so stuck when we're looking at a screen, or I don't know if anyone does this anymore, but trying to write on a piece of paper. If we speak, our thoughts can flow more freely. You could also multitask by folding your laundry or something. That is something that I do often. So your discussion should be made up of the following pieces: a summary of what new results you've contributed to the field, how your new results relate to previous similar results, what your results mean, which is also known as the implications of them, what limitations your study has, ideas / suggestions for future research people in your field could do, or you could do hypothetically. So if there's something that you wanted to do and you didn't get around to doing it, you didn't have time, you could put that in there. And a short conclusions paragraph at the end. Sometimes the ideas / suggestions for future research part is combined with the conclusions paragraph, I think. So before you sit down to write, get out again your 3 to 5 journal articles that you've been hopefully using throughout the process of doing your dissertation or thesis. I guess you might have more if you're doing a thesis. I don't think I got into that at the time, but the ones you use to select your methods of analysis initially. Break down each of their discussion sections, trying to identify what they've written in relation to all of those sections that I listed earlier, 2 seconds ago. And then that will help you to get going with some ideas for what you might want to write about in your discussion. Personally, I think the most difficult part of the discussion is the limitation section. So pay special attention to what the authors of your selected studies have written about in terms of their limitations. Think about or try to identify whether they have similar limitations to your study, or have you somehow circumvented some of their limitations? Or, on the other hand, does your study have additional limitations? Which is fine if it does. I just personally find it difficult to even know what a limitation could be and therefore identify it in my own study. That's why reading about other people's can kind of make you think, oh, maybe I've got that limitation. Or the discussion is such a complex part of any project that you'll most likely need to send a first draft to your supervisor for edits. They'll have invaluable insights into what should and shouldn't be included. That's another reason that you want a supervisor who is helpful, encouraging, and invested in your success. So it might be a good idea to try and write your first draft of your discussion in the first week that is allocated to discussion, and then send it to your supervisor for edits. And then while you're waiting for them to get back to you, because let's be honest, they might take a week to get back to you. It's quite unlikely that they'd get back to you like the next day. You could, while you're waiting, get the whole rest of your dissertation or thesis up to scratch to hand in. I guess it's different if you're doing a thesis, you've got longer time frames to get edits back and stuff. So, but let's just say, let's get your dissertation or thesis like fully spruced up to hand in. So then once your supervisor gets back to you with the edits on your discussion, you theoretically have like a week to make changes in relation to those edits and then finalise your discussion section. I mean, you never know, they might even want you to send another draft. Probably more likely at thesis level. And that really covers the basics of writing up your discussion. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below and I'll try and answer them. Or if you'd prefer, you can email me at drvicky911@gmail.com. I also encourage you to think about the following questions and do the same. Comment or email. Did I clarify anything for you? Did I address any worries or concerns that you had around this topic? Do you feel like you've learned anything new that will be of value to you? And how does what I've covered relate to your own personal situation? I'll check and respond to your comments every second weekday. And I might not have time to respond to emails, but I'll make sure I get around to reading them all and summarising them in a video in the future, something like that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.